Hey, how's it going? This is Jerry Heron here. You're making our YouTube video. It is now time for another Jerry Heron read-along video in which I'm reading you all The Magic School Bus, Lost in the Solar System by Joanna Cole and Bruce Dejan. From Scholastic, here's the front, side, and back. Like I said, the Magic School Bus books are classics. I grew up with them. They teach us all about educational stuff. So let's not waste any time. Let's get going. The Magic School Bus, Lost in the Solar System. Let's begin. Here is the inside title. Let's begin. It was trip day again in Miss Frizzle's class. Everyone was excited. We were going to the planetarium to see a sky show about the solar system. What is the solar system? By John. The solar system is the sun and all the bodies that orbit around it. The planets, their moons, the asteroid comets, and other chunks of rock, ice, and dust. Class, an orbit is the path of a planet or other object around the sun. Arnold's cousin Janet was visiting our class for the day. I know all of you will be nice to our guests, said the Frizz. I knew that I get all A's in school. I have 5 computers. My class went to the planetarium last year. What a show-off. Thanks for inviting your cousin Arnold. She's actually nice when you get to know her. We tried to be nice to Janet. We really did. As we got on the school bus, we told her that Miss Frizzle is the weirdest teacher in school, but Janet wasn't interested. She wanted to tell us about herself. My school is taller than your school. Our swings are better than your swings. My teacher is weirder than your teacher. Who wants a tall school? As usual, it took a while to get the old bus started, but finally we were on our way. As we were driving, Miss Frizzle told us all about how the Earth spins like a top as it moves in its orbit. It was just a short drive to the planetarium, but Miss Frizzle talked first. What makes night and day by Philby? The spinning of the Earth makes night and day. When one side of the Earth faces the sun, it is daytime on that side. When the side turns away from the sun, it is night. This bus is a wreck. At least it started this time. We have new school buses at our school. When the Earth spins, we say it rotates. The Earth makes one rotation turn every day. When we got to the planetarium, it was closed for repairs. Class, this means we'll have to return to school, said the Frizz. We were so disappointed. Back to school? I'm so depressed. My planetarium is always open. Then, on the way back, as we were waiting at a red light, something amazing happened. The bus started tilting back, and we heard the roar of rockets. Oh dear, said Miss Frizzle. We seem to be blasting off. Here we go again. Not another crazy trip. Children, we are going through the atmosphere, the layers of air around the Earth. I guess we'll be seeing the solar system after all. My bus has bigger rockets than your bus. Yeah, right, Janet. Why are spaceships launched with rockets? By Wanda. Spaceships cannot just fly into outer space. They need rockets to break free from the powerful grip of Earth's gravity. What is gravity? By Michael. Gravity is the force that pulls objects toward the center of the Earth. Our planets have gravity too. Larger planets usually have more gravity. Smaller planets usually have less gravity. When the roar of the rocket stopped, we looked around. Everything had changed. The bus had turned into a spaceship. We were all dressed in spacesuits, and we were lighter than feathers. We floated above our seats. I'm flying higher than you are. Look, it's a UFB. A what? An unidentified flying banana. Why do people feel weightless in space? By Phil. A spaceship and the people in it both go into orbit around the nearest planet or sun. When this happens, the people are no longer pulled toward the floor of the ship, so they float around. Far behind in the black sky, we saw the planet Earth getting smaller and smaller. We were traveling in space. We had become astronauts. Look how small the Earth seems from here. Class, notice Earth's blue oceans, white clouds, and brown land. It's beautiful. I think I have to go to the bathroom. The Frizz said our first stop would be the moon. We got off the bus and looked around. There was no air, no water, no sign of life. All we saw were dust and rock and lots of craters. Miss Frizzle said the craters were formed billions of years ago when the moon was hit by meteorites and are falling chunks of rock and metal. Oh. We are so light on the moon. That's because the moon has less gravity than the Earth. It was fun on the moon. We wanted to play, but Miss Frizzle said it was time to go. So we got back on the bus. We'll start with the sun, the center of the solar system, said the Frizz, and we blasted off. Look how high we can jump. I was in a national jump rope contest. I won, of course. Is there a national bragging contest? What Makes the Moon Shine by Rachel. The moon does not make any light of its own. The moonlight we see from Earth is really light from the sun. It hits the moon and bounces off, the way light is reflected from a mirror. The Moon's Orbit by Amanda Jane. The moon travels in orbit around the Earth, just as the Earth travels around the sun. We zoom toward the sun, the biggest, brightest, and hottest object in the solar system. Jets of super hot gases shot out at us from the surface. Thank goodness Miss Frizzle didn't get too close. You should never look directly at the sun, children. It can damage your eyes. You should never drive a bus directly into the sun either. Solar flares are huge explosions on the sun's surface. The Sun is a Star by Carmen. Our sun is an average star like the ones we see in the night sky. Which star do we see only in the daytime? That's easy. The sun. How big is the sun? By Gregory. Our sun measures more than 1,000,000 kilometers across. More than 1,000,000 Earths could fit inside it. She steered around to the other side and pulled away. We'll be seeing all the planets in order class, explained Frizzy. Mercury is the first planet the closest to the sun. My school is heated with solar energy. I have a sun deck. I have 10 pairs of sunglasses. Give us a break, Janet. Sunspots are areas that are cooler than the rest of the sun. How hot is the sun by Flory? At the center of the sun, the temperature is about 50 million degrees Celsius. The sun is so hot it heats planets that are millions of kilometers away. Our path so far. Mercury was a dead sun-baked planet. This planet is a lot like our moon. There is no water and hardly any air, said the Frizz. Notice the craters are on its surface as we pass by. The sun looks so much bigger than it does from Earth. That's because Mercury is so close. Too close. Let's go. You will vacation in a sunny spot. Before long, we felt ourselves being pulled in by the gravity of Venus, the second planet from the sun. Venus was completely covered by a thick layer of yellowish clouds. We will now explore the surface of Venus, said Miss Frizzle. Why are Venus's clouds yellow? By Tim. Earth's clouds are white because they are made of water vapor. Venus's clouds are made mostly of a deadly yellow poison called surface acid. We're gaining weight and we haven't even had lunch. We'll be heavier here than on the moon or Mercury because Venus has more gravity. Your future looks cloudy, so does Venus. Below the clouds, Venus was as dry as a desert. The ground was covered with rocks, and it was hot. It was about 460 degrees Celsius. That's much hotter than an oven baking cookies. Why is it so hot on Venus by Ralph? Venus's atmosphere has a lot of carbon dioxide gas in it. Carbon dioxide acts like a blanket to hold heat in. And when heat is trapped like this by a planet's atmosphere, it is called the greenhouse effect. There is no life on Venus, class. It's too hot. It's too dry. There's too much acid. Let's leave. The air was so heavy, we could feel it pressing down on us. Miss Frizzle said there might be active volcanoes around too. We said, let's get out of here. Our next stop is Mars, the red planet. Far from the sun, announced the Frizz. On our way, we'll be passing through the orbit of Earth, the third planet the bus lifted off of a roar. I've been to Mars lots of times. Just ignore her. It Never Rains on Venus by Dorothy N. Venus's clouds never make rain because it is too hot for rain to form. Any liquid on Venus dries up instantly. Our path so far. As we came close to Mars, we passed two moons, which are called Phobos and Deimos. Compared to our moon, they were tiny, and they weren't even round. Why are Mars moons round? By John. Large moons are round because of their gravity. Billions of years ago, when large moons formed, their gravity pulled into in their material evenly and made them round. The moons of Mars are so small that they don't have enough gravity to be round. Froze, 18 miles long. Demons, 9 miles long. Volcano. Those are moons? They look like potatoes with craters. Long ago, there was water in those channels, but today, Mars water is frozen in the polar ice caps and in the channels. Looking down, we saw a huge canyon. Looking down, we saw a huge canyon. Miss Frizzle said it was as long as the United States. There was a volcano 3 times taller than the tallest volcano on Earth. And all around there were channels. They that looked like dried up riverbeds. Ice can be found under the soil. Polar ice cap canyon channels. Earth is the best planet for life. That's why I live there. Janet likes to be the best. We notice things will look rosy soon. If is there life on Mars by Molly? No life has been found on Mars. Living things need water, and there is no liquid water on Mars. So space scientists think life probably cannot exist there. We landed and started walking around. Suddenly, a huge dust storm blew up. Miss Frizzle said dust storms on Mars can last for months. They may cover the whole planet. We scrambled back on the bus and headed out. Are there any aliens here? I don't see any. Don't be too sure. Why is Mars red? By Arnold. Mars looks red because there is a lot of rusty iron in its soil. The sky looks pinkish because of red dust in the air. Mars is the last of what we call the inner planets. Miss Frizzle shouted above the roar of the rockets. We will now be going through the asteroid belt to the outer planets. Isn't space travel exciting, Arnold? I really prefer video games. Why are the inner planet? What are the inner planets? By Alex. The inner planets are the four planets closest to the sun: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The four inner planets are all hard and rocky. Our path so far. Thousands of asteroids were spinning all around us. All at once, we heard the tinkling of broken glass. One of our tall lights had been hit by an asteroid. Miss Frizzle put the bus on an autopilot and went out to take a look. She kept on talking about asteroids over the bus radio. Autopilot, autopilot again. The asteroid belt by Shirley. The area between the inner and the outer planets is called the asteroid belt. It is filled with thousands and thousands of asteroids. What are asteroids by Flory? Asteroids are chunks of rock and metal in orbit around the sun. They may be building blocks of a planet that never formed, or they could be pieces of planets that broke apart. The largest asteroid is only one half three the size of our moon. Most asteroids are the size of houses or smaller. I wish she'd come inside. Suddenly there was a snap. Miss Frizzle's favored line had broken. Without warning, the rockets fired up and the bus zoomed away. The autopilot was malfunctioning. On the radio, Miss Frizzle's voice grew fainter and fainter. Then she was gone when we were on our own. We were lost in the solar system. Kids, I'll meet you later. Come in, Miss Frizzle. Do you read me? Most of us were too scared to move, but Janet started searching the bus in the glove compartment. She found Miss Frizzle's lesson book. As she began reading from it, a huge planet came into view. Class, this is Jupiter. Janet read, it's the first of our outer planets and the largest planet in the solar system. As we approached Jupiter, we could see some of its many moons. Arnold, are you listening? Boy, Miss Frizzle plans everything. She shouldn't touch Miss Frizzle's things, but this is an emergency. Lesson plan. As we approach Jupiter, we can see some of its many moons, Arnold. We thought the school bus was going to land, but there was no solid ground to land on. Jupiter is a gas giant, a planet made almost entirely of gas. As we left Jupiter, we wondered and worried, would we ever get home? Great red spot. Jupiter is so big that more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside it. Miss Frizzle, where are you? What is Jupiter's Great Red Spot? By Gregory. The red spot is probably a huge storm of swirling gas that has lasted for over 100 years. Our path continue. Asteroid belt, your weight and fate on Jupiter. Don't worry, you'll lose those extra pounds soon. The next sight made us forget our troubles. It was Saturn, a gas planet like Jupiter. It had swirling clouds and lots of moons, but the most incredible thing about Saturn was its rings. It was the most beautiful planet in the solar system. What are Saturn's rings? By Rachel. Saturn's rings are made of ice, rock, and dust, all in orbit around the planet. There are thousands of rings around Saturn class. They look like the grooves in an old um, phonograph record. Saturn is the grooviest planet, man. There's a ring in your future. Yeah, let me just read this page one more time, just because I forgot to read the actual page, just in case I forgot to read it. The next sight made us forget our troubles. It was Saturn, a gas planet like Jupiter. It had swirling clouds and lots of moons, but the most incredible thing about Saturn was its rings. It was the most beautiful planet in the solar system. The floating planet by Phoebe. Saturn is made of materials that are lighter than water. If there were a bathtub big enough, Saturn could float in it. Rock, ice, and dust. Cold Saturn take a bath. Could Saturn take a bath? Yes, but it might leave a ring. Next was Uranus, a blue-green gas planet with faint gray rings and moons. Some scientists think they might be made of chunks of graphite, the material used in pencils on Earth. The tipped over planet by Ralph. Uranus spins differently from the other planets. It seems to be lying on its side compared to most other planets in the solar system. Methane gas in its atmosphere makes Uranus look blue. You look kind of blue yourself. I'm freezing. That's because we're so far away from the sun. Feeling blue, you may be homesick. The bus was going faster and faster, and we couldn't control the autopilot. We swept past stormy Neptune, another blue-green planet, eighth from the sun. All we could think about was finding Miss Frizzle. Neptune is the last of the giant gas planets. We're almost out of gas ourselves, and the nearest service station is 4,000 million kilometers away. You will have a happy birthday 165 years from now. How long is a year? By Tim. A year is the time it takes for a planet to go all around the sun. Neptune and Uranus are so far away from the sun that have very long years. 1 year on Uranus is 84 Earth years. Neptune's year is 165 Earth years. Your way and fate of Neptune. You will have a happy birthday 165 years from now. We were going so fast, we almost missed seeing Pluto and its moons. Charon is the biggest one, and Hydra and Nix are smaller. We were so far away from the sun that it didn't look big anymore. It just looked like a very, very bright star. Is Pluto a real planet? By Wandit. People used to call Pluto a planet. Then scientists saw a lot of small bodies out beyond Pluto. They are called Kuiper Belt objects, KBOs for short. Now scientists call Pluto a KBO or Plutoid. I don't see anything but stars. Another star may have life on one of its planets. We'll have to wait and see. I hope Miss Brizzle is waiting too. You will meet a small dark Plutoid. Charge on Pluto. Janet flipped rapidly through Miss Frizzle's book. Suddenly, she found something new. The instructions for the autopilot. We punched an asteroid belt on the control panel. Slowly, the bus turned around. It was working. We were going back. Beyond Pluto, Stars and More Stars by Alex. Beyond our solar system are billions and billions of stars. There are so many stars and they are so far away that our minds cannot even imagine it. Some of those stars appear to have planets and some of those planets could have life on them, just like our Earth. Janet really saved the day. I told you she's a good kid. Our path so far. When we reached the asteroid belt, there was Miss Frizzle. Hey, that asteroid is Dress Buddy. That's not an asteroid, it's Miss Frizzle. Boy, am I glad to see her. Me too. With Frizzle back at the wheel, the bus headed straight for Earth. We entered the atmosphere, landed with a thump, and looked around. Boys and girls, we are arriving on Earth, the third planet from the sun. We were in the school parking lot again. The rockets were gone. The spacesuits were gone. The bus was a wreck. Everything was back to normal. Thank goodness. Hello again, old friend. Our planet chart. Here is the planet chart. I'll show it to you right now. You can read it. Okay. In the classroom, we made a terrific chart of the planets and a mobile of the solar system. Um, here is the. How about that? I weigh 85 pounds. There's no place like home. At last, it was time to go home. It had been a typical day in Miss Frizzle's class. Now we had only one problem. Would anyone even believe us when we told about our trip? We went to outer space today. Of course you did, dear. My favorite planet was Jupiter. No, maybe Mars. Of course, Saturn was gorgeous too. Mom, make him stop. And there was Miss Frizzle floating among the asteroids. What an imagination. We could have been lost in space forever. Eat your salad, honey. I'll read you this now for the final page. Attention, readers. Do not attempt this trip on your own school bus. 3 reasons why not. Attaching rockets to your school bus will upset your teacher, the school principal, and your parents. It will not get you into orbit anyway. An ordinary bus cannot travel in outer space, and you cannot become astronauts without years of training. Landing on certain planets may be dangerous to your health. Even astronauts cannot visit Venus. It's too hot. Mercury, it's too close to the sun. Or Jupiter, its gravity would crush human beings. People cannot fly to the sun either. Its gravity and heat would be too strong. Space travel could make you miss dinner with your family for the rest of your childhood. Even if a school bus could go to outer space, it could never travel through the entire solar system in one day. It took years for the Voyager space probes to do that. On the other hand, if a red-haired teacher in a funny dress shows up at your school, start packing. There you go. And that's the end of our story of the Magic School Bus lost in the solar system. That's gonna do this. I hope all you enjoyed the story. I did too. That's gonna do this video. See you in my next video. This is Jerry Heron signing off.